He told us about Daniel in the lion's den when God saved them from captivity. He told us about Deborah sitting under her palm tree thinking, how can I set my people free? And he told us about Jesus and how Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he's anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, and to proclaim the acceptable. He told us all those stories. And I learned to play the trumpet. And another kid in our Sunday school named Desmond Tutu learned about freedom and how God can set the captive free if you'll put your hand in God's hand and your other hand on the gospel plow and go to work. And we realized before we ever saw hope, that hope was a possibility. And so I always wanted to meet any bishop like him. Well, I hadn't thought about that in years. And then I thought about Sandye. I thought about a part of Sandye that may not be that well known. That, like Trevor Huddleston, Sandye had the gift of empowering the gifts of other people. She did. It's unbelievable. She did. She had that gift of mentoring folk. I've heard more stories about Sandye mentoring young clergy in this church. They know what I'm talking about. Randy, you were telling me the stories. Carol, look at y'all. They tell the stories. Cheryl, you all great. Tell the stories. She mentored young people, and they were young. They were babies. I remember I saw them. They were babies. In fact, at my age, they still look like babies. But she did. She had that gift of coaching them, of coaching and mentoring, and she did that even with bishops and presiding bishops. Because Sandye knew everything. And if she didn't, she faked it real good. And literally, there are generations of folk who are now taking their place in the leadership of the church, who were mentored by this woman, coached by her. And then she started to worry about, y'all need good pensions, so you're not worrying about what's ahead of you. And she got on the pension fund board. And she made sure that we had solid, and I'm saying that from, make sure that check comes at the first of every month. And just say, thank you, Jesus, and thank you, church pension fund. Just say, thank you. But that's a side of Sandye that I don't know if it's really known, that like Trevor Huddleston, she has mentored a new generation of clergy and lay leadership. And we don't know what they're going to do because we don't know what the future holds, but we know who holds the future. Believe. Just believe that this sister's life was not in vain. Oh, I love that passage in Paul in the 15th chapter of 1 Corinthians where Paul says, behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed in a moment, in the twinkle of an eye, at the last trumpet. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible. And then Paul says, therefore, know, because of that mystery of God, therefore know that in God, your work is not in vain. We don't know what in the mystery of God, those who she has mentored, what they will do. Neither did Trevor Huddleston. That Desmond Tutu would become the voice of freedom. And that Hugh Masekela's music would be the songs of freedom. And that God would trouble the waters until the Red Sea of apartheid. No. God would trouble the earth, quake it until the walls of South Africa's Jericho came tumbling down. So don't weep. Y'all with me? You don't have to weep for her. Weep because you'll miss her. But give God the glory and then march on. Let me bring this to a close. Let me come on down for a second. I don't move as fast as I used to, but I can still move. When I was rector, blessed to be rector here at St. James Church, and blessed, I really was. Our youngest daughter was actually born here. Our oldest daughter was born in Cincinnati, but our youngest was born here at Sinai Hospital. And when she was and we had a routine that my wife, who was teaching school, would take our oldest daughter to school, and then I would take our youngest, Elizabeth, I would take her, and I'd take her to nursery school, which was not far from St. James, so it was easy for me to do that. And I remember this one particular morning, Sharon and Rachel had gone on to school, and I told Elizabeth, put your raincoat on because it's going to rain. And she said, well, it's not raining now. I said, well, I know it's not raining now, but it's going to rain. And she said, how did you know it was going to rain? Mommy didn't say it was going to rain. And I kind of pulled up my pants just to make sure they were still on. And I said, well, I understand that, but I checked the weather. Al Roker said it was going to rain on TV. And I read it in the newspaper, and I went through all this. I figured, go give a little education. I went through all of that, and she said, but it's not raining now. And she ran in the living room and pulled back the curtains, and she said, look, Daddy, it's not raining. I said, I know, baby, it's not raining, but it's going to rain, trust me. It's really going to rain. And she said, but it's not raining. Now, after all this, I finally got to the point. I said, Elizabeth, just go and put your raincoat on. And then I took her to school, and we got to the nursery school, so I took her into the teacher, and I came back, and I sat down in the car, and I actually kind of laughed. I sat there thinking, this little 3-year-old person going to tell me, the rector of historic St. James Episcopal Church, doesn't this child know who I am? I mean, obviously she doesn't. But it really was kind of funny because I said she actually thought she knew more about what was coming than I did, who had read the scientific forecast, the meteorological information, who actually had done my homework and had been on this earth 3 times as long as she had even thought about being on earth. And then it occurred to me, Lord, that must be what we look like to God. All right, you see where I'm going now? What we look like to God, thinking we know what's going to happen and we can handle it. God says, they are so cute. They actually think they know what they're talking about. God bless them. God says, God bless them too. And he said, don't they know that I was there when Moses parted the Red Sea and Moses had no idea what was going on? Don't they know that I was there with Joshua when Joshua fought the battle of Jericho and the walls came tumbling down? Don't they know when I closed the mouths of yawning lions? Don't they know that I was with Jesus when he came among them? Don't they know that when Jesus was crucified, I said, I promise you, just pay attention and trust me when nothing else happened, and Jesus rose from the dead and came back to life. Don't they know that I'm God? Don't they know that I got the whole world in my hands? Don't they know? Oh, Lord. Don't you know that Sandye's in the hands of God? and that you, her beloved family, and this community of friends, that we are in the hands of God. In life and in death, mountaintop and in valley, through the best of it and the worst of it, he's got the whole world in his hands. He's got the little bitty baby in his hands. Got you and me, sister, in his hands. Got you and me, brother, in his hands. He got Alpha and Omega. Kappa. He got everybody in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. So rejoice and give God thanks that Sandye walked among us. Rejoice and give God thanks for her life. And then go out and change this world from the nightmare it is into the dream that God intends. God love you. God bless you. And God hold you always in the hollow of those almighty hands. God love you. And I'm finished now. I'm going to sit down. God bless you. God bless you. God bless. God bless.